More than 4 decades after its release, Grease, 1978, remains one of the most cherished musicals in film history. With its infectious energy, unforgettable soundtrack, and iconic performances, the movie became a cultural phenomenon, launching its cast into stardom. However, as time has passed, 40 beloved actors who brought Grease to life have sadly left us, some due to illness, others under tragic circumstances. From leading stars to unforgettable supporting characters, their legacies continue to shine. Join us as we look back at these 27 talented cast members who have passed away and the heartbreaking stories behind their final days. Olivia Newton-John played Sandy in Grease, 1978, at 28, embodying the innocent, love-struck girl who transforms to win Danny Zuko's heart. Her career skyrocketed with hits like Physical and Xanadu, but behind the success was deep personal suffering. Her marriage to Matt Lattanzi crumbled in 1995 due to the pressures of fame, leaving her to raise their daughter, Chloe, who later struggled with addiction and eating disorders. In 2005, her long-term partner, Patrick McDermott, mysteriously disappeared during a fishing trip, sparking endless speculation and leaving her in years of emotional torment. She battled breast cancer 3 times, first diagnosed in 1992 and later spreading to her bones, causing excruciating pain. Despite her advocacy for cancer research and medical cannabis use, the disease ultimately took its toll. She passed away on August 8, 2022, at 73, after decades of resilience through heartbreak, loss, and suffering.
I have to talk to Danny.
Unless you got wheels and a motor, he won't know you're alive.
Listen, Rizzo, I know that we haven't been the best of friends, but if there's anything I can do...
Oh, I can take care of my...
Eve Arden played Principal McGee at the age of 70, bringing her signature wit and no-nonsense charm to the role. A Hollywood veteran, she had once been one of the most sought-after comedic actresses, known for our Miss Brooks and Mildred Pierce. Yet, behind her success, her personal life was marked by deep loneliness. Though married to producer Brooks West, the relationship was distant, and she often felt isolated. When he died in 1984, she was left entirely alone, struggling financially as Hollywood no longer had roles for aging actresses. The industry that once adored her turned its back, leaving her to spend her later years in declining health, suffering from heart disease and arteriosclerosis. As her condition worsened, she withdrew from the public eye, her once sharp mind clouded by illness. On November 12, 1990, she died at 82 from cardiac arrest, her final years filled with solitude, a forgotten legend of a bygone era.
Hello, ma'am.
Aren't you supposed to be in homeroom right now?
I was just going for a walk.
You were just dawdling, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
That is no way to start a new semester, Mr.
Jeff Conaway was 28 when he played Kinnicky, the tough yet loyal best friend of Danny Zuko. Though Grease brought him fame, his biggest success came with Taxi, 1978, where he played struggling actor Bobby Wheeler. But the reality was far darker. Jeff battled severe drug addiction, which began after injuring his back on the Grease set. Prescribed painkillers led to lifelong substance abuse, derailing his career and personal life. His marriage to Rona Newton-John, Olivia's sister-in-law, ended in divorce as his addiction worsened. By the late 1990s, he had lost nearly everything, appearing on Celebrity Rehab in a desperate attempt to get clean. However, his body had already suffered irreversible damage. In 2011, he was found unconscious at home, suffering from pneumonia and sepsis. After weeks in a coma, his family made the heartbreaking decision to withdraw life support. He passed away on May 27, 2011, at 60, a once promising star destroyed by addiction and despair.
Where were you all summer?
What are you, my mother?
I'm just asking.
I was working, which is more than any of you skids can say.
Working?
That's right, I was lugging boxes at Bargain City.
Joan Blondell played Vi, the kind-hearted waitress at the Frosty Palace, at 72, bringing warmth and maternal wisdom to the film. But behind the glamour was a life riddled with personal and financial turmoil. She endured 3 failed marriages, most notably to producer Mike Todd, whose abusive behavior left her emotionally shattered. After their divorce, Todd moved on to marry Elizabeth Taylor, leaving Joan humiliated and financially drained. Her second husband, cinematographer George Barnes, gave her some stability, but their marriage ended in divorce as well. Her health declined in the late 1970s when she was diagnosed with leukemia, a painful and exhausting battle she fought largely in silence. As medical bills mounted, she struggled to afford treatment, and her once lavish lifestyle was reduced to near poverty. On December 25, 1979, she died on Christmas Day at 73.
It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be.
Nothing ever is.
Vi? I dropped out.
Ed Burns played Vince Fontaine at 46, embodying the fast-talking, slick-haired television personality who charmed audiences in Grease. In the late 1950s, he had been a major teen heartthrob as Kooky in 77 Sunset Strip, a role that brought him fame but also trapped him in a career he couldn't control. Desperate to break free from his image as a pretty boy sidekick, he fought with Warner Brothers over his contract, leading to his career's rapid decline. His personal life fared no better. His marriage to actress Asa Maynard crumbled under the weight of his addiction and financial instability, and he became estranged from their only son, Logan Burns, a news anchor who rarely spoke of his father's troubled past. Burns spent decades struggling for relevance, taking minor roles in low-budget films and TV guest spots, each appearance a painful reminder of how far he had fallen from his former glory. He died alone on January 8, 2020, at 87, from natural causes.
Hey, it's great being here at Rydell High.
Alice Ghostley brought humor and eccentricity to the role of Mrs. Murdoch in Grease at 55, playing the quirky shop teacher who provided comic relief. Despite her talent, she never achieved the level of stardom she desired, often being typecast in secondary roles. Her marriage to actor Felice Orlandi was stable but childless, and as Hollywood's interest in her waned, financial struggles took a toll on their later years. Ghostley's health declined sharply as she aged, and she was diagnosed with colon cancer, followed by a series of strokes that left her weakened and dependent on others for care. Once a lively and sharp-witted performer, she spent her final days in frailty and obscurity, largely forgotten by the entertainment world. On September 21, 2007, she passed away at 84, her name barely making headlines, a cruel reminder of how quickly Hollywood forgets even its most endearing talents.
The first day of school and already my castor oil is missing.
How many days till Christmas vacation?
86.
86.
Sid Caesar played the lively and supportive Coach Calhoun in Grease, 1978, at 56, bringing his trademark energy to the role. A comedy pioneer, he had once been a television superstar in the 1950s, but his career was tragically derailed by severe alcoholism and painkiller addiction. His battles with substance abuse led to erratic behavior, violent outbursts, and professional ruin, leaving him isolated and riddled with regret. Though he remained married to Florence Levy and had 3 children, his addiction strained his family life. As Hollywood moved on without him, he struggled with depression and declining health, making only occasional public appearances. By his later years, he was a shadow of the comedic giant he once was, largely forgotten by the industry that had once revered him. On February 12, 2014, he passed away at the age of 91 after a brief illness, his final years spent in solitude, reflecting on a career that had burned bright but ended in sadness.
Now, what sort of athletics are you interested in, huh? You like the rings?
Yeah, I installed 7 rings just a couple weeks ago.
Dodie Goodman played the lovable yet scatterbrained Blanche in Grease at 64, perfectly embodying the eccentric secretary who was devoted to Principal McGee. Known for her comedic timing, Goodman had a long career but was often dismissed as too odd for leading roles. She never married or had children, instead devoting herself entirely to her work, though the industry's opportunities for her dwindled as she aged. In her later years, she suffered from severe memory loss, making it difficult for her to communicate and recognize old friends. Once a lively and beloved presence, she became increasingly reclusive, retreating from the world that had once embraced her quirkiness. By the time of her death on June 22, 2008, at the age of 93, she had been almost completely forgotten, her passing receiving little attention. She died from natural causes, alone and far from the comedic spotlight that had once defined her life.
Will you excuse me for a minute? I'll be right back.
Oh, excuse me. Do you have a pencil, please?
Oh, yes, dear. Here you are.
Susan Buckner played the overenthusiastic Patty Simcox in Grease at 26, perfectly capturing the role of the bubbly, all-American cheerleader who often clashed with the Pink Ladies. A former beauty queen, Buckner entered Hollywood with high hopes for a successful career, but she quickly found herself typecast, struggling to break free from the limitations imposed by her role. She married and had children, but little was known about her private life as she retreated from the spotlight. Despite the massive success of Grease, her career failed to gain lasting momentum, and she largely faded into obscurity. As years passed, she became a forgotten figure in Hollywood, rarely mentioned in discussions about the film. On May 2, 2024, she passed away at the age of 72, with the cause of death undisclosed. Her passing, like her career, went largely unnoticed, a tragic end for someone who had once embodied youthful optimism.
First day of school, don't you? It's the biggest thrill of my life.
Oh, you'll never guess what's happened.
Probably not.
They just announced the nominees for student council, and guess who's up for vice president?
Who?
Me!
Annette Charles played the bold and captivating Cha-Cha Di Gregorio in Grease, 1978, at the age of 30, bringing to life the confident, sharp-tongued, and exceptionally talented dancer who stole the show at the school dance competition. Her performance exuded energy and charisma, but in reality, her career struggled to maintain that momentum. After a few small acting roles, she found Hollywood unforgiving, leading her to shift toward education, becoming a speech professor. Despite her professional pivot, her personal life was filled with quiet sorrow. She was married, but the relationship was far from idyllic, marred by emotional distance and a longing for something unfulfilled. She never had children, a fact she rarely spoke about but reportedly regretted in her later years. Just as she found stability outside the spotlight, tragedy struck. She was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, an illness that progressed mercilessly. Annette Charles passed away on August 3, 2011, at the age of 63.
Look, I want you to meet Cha-Cha Di Gregorio.
How you doing, Zuko, baby?
Alright. Who is she?
They call me Cha-Cha, because I'm the best.
Daryl Zwirling portrayed the stern and authoritative Mr. Lynch in Grease at 50, perfectly fitting the role of the no-nonsense teacher who demanded discipline. While he appeared in notable films such as Chinatown, 1974, his career never reached great heights, and he remained a character actor with only minor recognition. He never married or had children, living a relatively solitary life as Hollywood largely overlooked him. As he aged, he withdrew from public life, facing health issues that he chose to keep private. By the time of his death on April 11, 2014, at the age of 85, he had faded into near-complete obscurity. His passing was barely acknowledged by the entertainment industry, leaving behind no family, no major legacy, just a handful of supporting roles in an industry that had long since moved on without him.
Good Kaneki again. He's been here longer than I have.
The first day of school and already my castor oil.
Dennis Stewart embodied the menacing, leather-clad Leo Craterface Balmuto in Grease, 1978, at the age of 31, playing the sneering, cocky leader of the Scorpions, the gang that rivaled the T-Birds. His intimidating screen presence was memorable, but in reality, he faced a life of inner turmoil. Though he found some success in television, including reprising his role in Grease 2, 1982, his career never reached the heights he had hoped for, leaving him frustrated and disillusioned. Behind the tough exterior, Stewart battled deeply personal struggles. As a closeted gay man in a time when Hollywood remained largely unaccepting, he lived in fear of exposure, which took a toll on his relationships and mental health. Then came the devastating diagnosis, HIV, a near-certain death sentence in the 1980s. The disease progressed rapidly, leading to pneumonia-related complications that drained his body and spirit. He died on April 20, 1994, at just 46 years old.
So you guys think you got a winner there, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, well, it takes more than a coat of paint to make it at Thunder Road.
Oh, yeah?
You guys ain't thinking about changing your mind, are ya?
Wendy Jo Sperber was just 20 when she appeared as a dancer in Grease, 1978, bringing infectious enthusiasm to the film's energetic high school dance sequences. She later gained widespread recognition for her roles in Bosom Buddies and Back to the Future, but despite her comedic talent, her career gradually declined, leaving her with fewer acting opportunities. Her personal life was filled with emotional turmoil, her marriage ended in a painful divorce, and she struggled as a single mother raising 2 children while battling financial difficulties. In 1997, her life took a devastating turn when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, a disease that would define her remaining years. Determined to fight, she underwent aggressive treatments while dedicating herself to cancer awareness, founding Westpark, a support center for cancer patients. Though she remained resilient, the illness took a severe toll on her body, and after an 8-year battle, she passed away on November 29, 2005, at the age of 47. Leaving behind a legacy of courage and advocacy.
About an hour before you get going in the morning, drain out your water, flush it out of there completely, take in a lot of oil, then grease up that back end, get out on the highway.
John Travolta portrayed the charming and effortlessly cool Danny Zuko in Grease, 1978, at the age of 24, embodying the quintessential bad boy who softens for love. Danny's confidence masks his insecurities, and his transformation for Sandy highlights his vulnerability beneath the bravado. Travolta's career skyrocketed with Saturday Night Fever and Pulp Fiction, cementing him as a Hollywood icon. However, his personal life was riddled with tragedy. His first love, Diana Hyland, died of breast cancer in 1977, leaving him devastated. In 2009, his 16-year-old son, Jet, suffered a fatal seizure, plunging Travolta into deep grief, worsened by scrutiny over his ties to Scientology. His wife, Kelly Preston, succumbed to breast cancer in 2020, another unbearable loss. Despite his wealth and fame, he has endured profound sorrow. As of 2025, he is 71 but has faced unimaginable heartbreak, living with the weight of personal loss while maintaining a public persona of resilience.
The way I treated Sandy, I told you I was sorry about that.
Yeah, got you joking. You sure you're okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Stockard Channing brought a biting wit and raw vulnerability to her role as Rizzo, the tough yet emotionally fragile leader of the Pink Ladies, at the age of 34. Rizzo's storyline, particularly her pregnancy scare, made her one of Grease's most complex and relatable characters, resonating with audiences who saw beyond her hardened exterior. Channing's career flourished in theater and television, earning acclaim for The West Wing, but Hollywood's preference for younger actresses often left her fighting for substantial roles. Despite professional recognition, her personal life was deeply unfulfilled. She endured 4 failed marriages, each leaving her more disillusioned with love, and she never had children, later admitting it was her biggest regret. As she aged, she found herself increasingly isolated, feeling forgotten by an industry that once celebrated her. She is 81 and remains alive as of 2025. She has retreated from public life, a once fiery presence now fading into quiet obscurity.
Fine, thanks.
Hey, Marty, are those new glasses? Oh, yeah, just got them for school. Don't you think they make me look smarter? Nah, you can still see your face.
Barry Pearl played the goofy and endearing Duty, the T-Bird with dreams of being a musician, at 28. His character's lightheartedness made him a fan favorite, but Pearl's real life was far less carefree. Unlike many of his Grease co-stars, he struggled to find major success after the film, relegated to small television roles and voice work that barely sustained him. While he married, the relationship eventually crumbled, leaving him alone in his later years. Without children, he poured himself into occasional theater work, but as time passed, his opportunities dwindled. Financial hardship hit him hard, forcing him to take jobs far beneath his experience, and as his health declined, battling vision loss and chronic pain, his ability to work became even more limited. By 2025, he is 74, remains alive but largely forgotten, living a modest existence defined more by the nostalgia of a single role than by the thriving career he once dreamed of having.
you don't watch it, you're gonna be spending all your time in McGee's office.
Yeah, well, this year she's gonna wish she's never seen me.
Oh, yeah? And what are you gonna do?
I just ain't gonna take any of her crap.
Didi Khan played the lovable, wide-eyed Frenchie at 26, bringing warmth and charm to the role of the beauty school dropout. Frenchie's unwavering optimism made her an endearing presence in Grease, but Khan's real life was far from the fairy tale she embodied on screen. Though she worked steadily in children's television, she never recaptured the same level of fame and often struggled to find roles that showcased her full potential. Her greatest challenge, however, came in her personal life when her son was diagnosed with autism. She dedicated herself to raising awareness and advocating for children with special needs, but the financial and emotional strain took its toll. Balancing career struggles, personal heartbreak, and the pressures of being a caretaker left her exhausted, and as she aged, work offers became even scarcer. As of 2025, she is 73 and still alive, but she remains largely out of the limelight, her once bright career overshadowed by the challenges of real life.
They're fleas on rats. Worse than that, there are amoebas on fleas on rats. I mean, they are too low for even the dogs to bite.
Michael Tucci portrayed the wisecracking Sonny Lattieri at 32, a brash and mischievous T-Bird who provided comic relief. While Grease brought him brief recognition, Tucci never broke into Hollywood's elite and eventually transitioned into teaching drama, where he found a sense of purpose. Despite a long-lasting marriage, the couple never had children, something Tucci later confessed left an emptiness in his life. His later years were marked by mounting health issues, including heart problems that limited his mobility, forcing him to step away from the classroom and from public life. The industry moved on without him, and while fans still recognized him from Grease, he felt like a relic of a bygone era, disconnected from the Hollywood machine. As of 2025, he is 78 and remains alive, but leads a quiet, reclusive life, his once lofty aspirations long since abandoned in favor of solitude and reflection on a career that never fully materialized.
Isn't it crazy? I did meet this one chick. She was sort of cool.
You know, mean she puts out?
Oh, come on, Sonny. Is that all you...
Lenny Baker, the saxophonist in Johnny Casino and The Gamblers in Grease, 1978, was 32 when he brought the film's rock and roll energy to life. Before his Hollywood stint, he had a taste of fame as a member of Sha Na Na, a band that celebrated 1950s nostalgia. However, as the years passed, his music career slowly faded, leaving him grasping at the past. He never married and spent much of his later life alone, reminiscing about the days when his performances lit up audiences. With time, his health deteriorated, his struggles with weight and diabetes led to multiple complications, making everyday life increasingly difficult. An infection took hold in his later years, weakening him significantly. The once boisterous musician, known for his lively performances, spent his final days in pain and solitude. On February 24, 2016, at 69 years old, he succumbed to the illness, his vibrant spirit dimmed, his name largely forgotten by an industry that had long moved on. Frederick Dennis Green, another member of Johnny Casino and The Gamblers, was 29 when Grease, 1978, was filmed. While many of his co-stars struggled in the entertainment world, he chose a different path, leaving music behind to become a lawyer and later a professor. Despite his intellectual success, his personal life was far from fulfilling. He was married for a time, but his marriage ended in divorce, and he never remarried. He had no children, and as he grew older, isolation crept in. The lively, music-filled days of his youth became distant memories, replaced by the quiet routine of academia. Then came the cruelest blow, an esophageal cancer diagnosis, robbing him of the very voice that once sang with passion. The disease advanced rapidly, leaving him frail and unable to do what he once loved. On September 5, 2015, at 66, he passed away, a man who had once been part of a cultural phenomenon, now fading away in silence. Christine Greco, who danced in Grease at 27, was a vision of joy and exuberance in the film's musical numbers, her movements capturing the carefree spirit of youth. A classically trained dancer, she spent years struggling to break into the industry, facing constant rejection and body shaming that shattered her confidence. She married young, desperate for stability, but the union was doomed from the start. Her husband resented her ambitions, and their relationship became a battleground of unspoken resentments and dashed dreams. They had 2 children, but the marriage dissolved in acrimony, leaving Greco emotionally and financially drained. By the 1990s, her career had faded, and she was forced to take odd jobs to support herself and her children. She retreated from the public eye entirely in the 2000s, suffering in silence from declining health and chronic pain. She died on March 25, 2009, at 57. Screamin' Scott Simon played with Johnny Casino and the Gamblers in Grease, 1978, at age 30, delivering electrifying piano performances that captured the film's nostalgic rock and roll spirit. As a key member of Sha Na Na, he found fame in the 1970s, but the band's fading popularity led to career struggles. Forced into smaller, lower-paying gigs, he grappled with financial instability, which took a toll on his mental health. His personal life was equally troubled. 2 failed marriages left him estranged from his children, and he struggled with feelings of isolation. Once adored on stage, he found himself forgotten by the industry he had given his life to. In his later years, declining health worsened his isolation, and a devastating diagnosis of sinus cancer drained his remaining strength. The disease progressed aggressively, leaving him in immense pain. After years of suffering, he passed away on September 5, 2024, at 75, a once bright star extinguished by illness and obscurity. Who is your favorite character in Grease? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.